Welcome back to Chapter 13 of Lois Lowry's Number the Stars. This chapter is called Run as Fast as You Can. And just as that title suggests, we're going to see some more conflict building in the story. I want you to see how Lois Lowry helps the conflict rise up in the rising action and what that does for Annemarie's journey. Chapter 13. Run as fast as you can. Still moving quietly so as not to wake her sister, Annemarie sped down the stairs and through the kitchen door. Her foot caught the loose step and she faltered for a moment, righting herself, and then dashed across the ground to the place where Mother lay. "Mama!" she called out desperately. "Mama!" "Shh!" Mama said, raising her head. "I'm all right." "But Mama," Annemarie asked, kneeling beside her, "what's wrong? What happened?" Her mother pulled herself to a sitting position. She winced in pain. "I'm all right, really. Don't worry. And the Rosens are with Henrik. That's the important thing." She smiled a little, though her face was drawn with pain, and she bit her lip, the smile fading. "We got there quite quickly, even though it was still so dark and it was difficult for the Rosens, not knowing the path. Henrik was there waiting on the boat, and he took them aboard and down below so quickly to the cabin that they were invisible in an instant. He said the others were already there. Peter got them there safely, too. So I turned and hurried home. I was so anxious to get back to you girls. I should have been more careful." Talking softly, she brushed some grass and dirt from her hands. "Can you believe it? I was very nearly here, well, maybe just halfway, when I tripped over a root and went sprawling." Mama sighed. "So clumsy," she said, as if she were scolding herself. "I'm afraid my ankle is broken, Annemarie. Thank goodness it's nothing worse. An ankle mends. And I am home, and the Rosens are with Uncle Henrik." "You should have seen me, Annemarie," she said, shaking her head with a wry look. "Your proper mama crawling inch by inch. I probably looked like a drunkard." She reached for Annemarie's arm. "Here, let me lean on you. I think if you support me on this side, I can make my way up to the house. Goodness, what a clumsy fool I am. Here, let me put my arm over your shoulders. You're such a good, strong, brave girl. Now, very slowly. There." Mama's face was white with pain. Annemarie could see it even through the faint of the light approaching dawn. She hobbled, leaning heavily on her daughter, pausing again toward the house. "When we get inside, I'll have a cup of tea, and then we'll call the doctor. I'll tell him that I fell on the stairs. You'll have to help me wash the grass and twigs. Here, Annemarie, let me rest for a minute." They had reached the house, and Mama sank down to the steps and sat. She took several deep breaths. Annemarie sat beside her and held her hand. "Mama, I was so worried when you didn't come back." Mama nodded. "I knew you would be. I thought of you worrying as I dragged myself along. But here I am, safe with you now. Everything is fine. What time is it?" "It must be 4:30, close to it." "They will sail soon." Mama turned her head and gazed across the meadow to the sea and the vast sky above it. There were no stars now, only the gray, pale sky with pinkness at its border. Soon they will be safe too. Annemarie relaxed. She stroked her mother's hand and looked down at the discolored, swollen ankle. I want to pause there. That role reversal has truly come into force. Through Lois Lowry's dialogue, we see Mama speaking. We hear her talk. And we can see how Mama now is the one who needs to be taken care of. And Annemarie is there to support her, physically helping her hobble into the house, as Mama got home late because she tripped and fell over a root. Let's keep going to see what Annemarie finds next. Oh, I just wanted to point out that Mama getting injured is another increase of our problem. Before, the problem was just that the Jewish people needed to make it to Uncle Henrik safely so they could escape to Sweden. But now we have yet another problem. Mama is hurt. Annemarie relaxed. She stroked her mother's hand and looked down at the discolored, swollen ankle. "Mama, what's this?" she asked suddenly, reaching into the grass at the foot of the steps. Mama looked. She gasped. "Oh my God," she said. Annemarie picked it up. She recognized it now and knew what it was. It was the packet that Peter had given to Mr. Rosen. Mr. Rosen tripped on the step, remember? It must have fallen from his pocket. We have to save it and give it back to Peter. Annemarie handed it to her mother. "Do you know what it is?" Her mother didn't answer. Her face was stricken. She looked at the path and down at her ankle. "It's important, isn't it, Mama? It was for Uncle Henrik. I remember Peter said it was very important. I heard him tell Mr. Rosen." Her mother tried to stand but fell back against the steps with a groan. "My God," she murmured again. "It may have all been for nothing." Annemarie took the packet from her mother's hand and stood. "I will take it," she said. "I know the way, and it's almost light now. I can run like the wind." Mama spoke quickly, her voice tense. "Annemarie, go into the house and get the small basket on the table. Quickly, quickly. Put an apple into it and some cheese. Put this packet underneath. Do you understand? Hurry." Annemarie did instantly as she was told. The basket, the packet at the bottom. She covered it with a napkin, then some wrapped cheese and an apple. She glanced around the kitchen, saw some bread, and added that. The little basket was full. She took it to where her mother was. "You must run to the boat. If anyone should stop you—" "Who would stop me?" "Annemarie, you understand how dangerous this is. If any soldiers see you, if they stop you, you must pretend to be nothing more than a little girl. A silly, empty-headed little girl taking lunch to a fisherman, a foolish uncle who forgot his bread and cheese." "Mama, what is in the bottom?" But her mother didn't answer the question. "Go," she said firmly. "Go right now and run as fast as you can." Annemarie kissed her mother quickly, grabbed the basket from her mother's lap, turned, and ran toward the path. Annemarie has a mission. We saw the problem get even worse when Annemarie saw the packet that Mr. Rosen left. Peter had given Mr. Rosen this packet to give to Uncle Henrik, and it was something important. We don't know what, but we know that the packet being left behind created an even bigger problem. So now Annemarie has been called on to a mission. Her mother's ankle is broken and she can't go. Peter has already left. Uncle Henrik is already in the boat, and they need this package. Annemarie, long legs, little speedy one, is going to run and deliver the package. Now Annemarie changes from being the one worried and waiting at home to being the brave and strong young girl who has to go on a mission to potentially save her family and best friends. I want you to see how Annemarie has shifted between this world of child and adult. And the worlds of children and the worlds of adults are starting to blur. It's starting to get complicated. Annemarie is a child, but sometimes she has to play the role of the warrior and the waiter. Sometimes she has to play the role of the caretaker. And sometimes she has to be brave. Even though those qualities are things that have belonged in the adult world, things that she's witnessed Peter getting good at now. She's realizing that even as a child, she has to take on some of these roles, especially in a time of crisis. I hope you enjoyed how Lois Lowry turned up the dial on the problem in the story and helped us see a new part in Annemarie's journey. Come back for the next chapter so we can see if Annemarie completes her mission.